Hey everyone, welcome to the Wildrift Patch Notes 3.3, where we will be discussing the different changes and how it affects the competitive meta. Without further ado, let's get into it. Going into the patch notes, I know that this will be long, but I will try my best to make this as short and as concise as possible for everyone to easily understand. Starting off, we have the ARAM progression track. So ARAM now has its own sets of achievements, and this is good for those who main ARAM or enjoy the game mode. Then the controls, there is a new control, on button down. This means that with these settings, abilities that aren't aimed or targeted will activate a few frames quicker. So this is a setting that I will most probably try, and who knows, it may clutch me in such situations. Elemental Rift is now officially out, and the map will change after you slay the first dragon. Infernal burns away and collapses walls, Mountain causes walls and terrain to rise out of the earth, and Bush and Honey Fruit will grow as the river floods. So there are certain champions that benefit with this type of dragons. Let's see on which dragon would be the best. So the type of Elemental Rift that they went through would be the stacking dragons, wherein the more dragons you have, the stronger the buffs will be. For example, Infernal for 812, Mountain has now been reworked a bit, as well as Ocean, similar to the League PC version. So from bonus shield, it now gives bonus armor and magic resist. And for Ocean, from lifesteal to missing health regeneration. So this is more in line with the League PC version. And there's no more Cloud Dragon. RIP Cloud. I will see you in the next life. Elder Dragon has now also been reworked. Damaging abilities now cause them to burn 60 true damage. But there is now an execute for those champions that fall below 50%. They will be instantly be executed, which makes the Elder buff the strongest team fighting buff in the game. But the problem is that it only lasts 2 minutes or champion death. So it's similar to Baron buff, where it is not permanent, unlike what we had before. So dragon spawning, first dragon spawns at 5 minutes. Spawn non-repeating random elemental dragons. So similar to the last version. But what's different here is that Elder will spawn at 20 minutes. So before, Elder would spawn at 16. Now it's at 20. And elemental dragons will despawn at 19 minutes. So what this means is that it's similar to Rift Herald, wherein once it reaches the 19-minute mark, even though a dragon is still up, it will automatically despawn. And at the 20-minute mark, it will always be the Elder Dragon that is up. So if you kill a dragon at the 18-minute mark, Elder will still spawn at the 20-minute mark. Next would be the rank update. So let's see all of the new changes. So the latest skin will be the Glorious Crimson Fiora, looking really good, and it's a free skin wherein everyone could easily get. So rank marks will now extend all the way to Challenger. Once you reach Diamond, instead of gaining or losing VP points, it's now marks. So once you reach Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, Challenger, it's all in the mark system. So for Diamond, you need 6 marks. So assuming that you get plus 15 per game, so 100 divided by 15, it's 6.6, round out to 7. So you actually need 7 wins before to increase your rank in Diamond. Now you need 6, which makes your climb a lot faster. So similarly, you need 20 marks from Master to Grandmaster, which is 20 games. So assuming you get plus 10 minus 10 and Master up, it's still the same thing where you need to win 20 games. They just made it mark system. But what's good about this system is that rank fortitude will now apply to all ranks. So this might make your climb a bit easier, and it would be possible to reach higher ranks with a below 50% win rate because of this rank fortitude and fortitude shield. But we'll see. Hopefully, this will make your climb a lot easier and enjoy the game more. Removing placement matches at the beginning of the rank experience. So there's no more placement matches. Not sure what will happen if people would still be able to skip ranks or they have to climb rank per rank. Since we're implementing a lot of new changes, our usual season reset will roll some ranks a bit further than the previous season. So expect your ranks to be a lot lower than usual once the ranks are set. So next is my favorite part of the patch, which is the legendary queue. So a few weeks after a rank season, we will introduce a new queue, legendary queue. This will be an additional queue for you to climb your way through and show off your skill. So this is my favorite. As a competitive player, this is really good for the environment. So what this queue has is that it's solo queue only, available for players who achieve Diamond Plus, and will only be available on the certain hours of the day. So this has the same season cycle with our existing rank queue, and it has its own rank tiers, which is Warrior, Commander, Guardian, Vanquisher, Immortal, then Legend. So Legend is possibly the challenger of our rank queue. So if you climb to the top and achieve prestigious rank of Legend, you'll be given a special global ranking, and this will have a separate matchmaking from the normal and rank queue. Exclusive rewards will be available. So the reason why I like Legendary queue, because as a competitive player, this tests the limit of how far people can go rather than increasing your rank via 2-man, 3-man, abusing that duo, trio, or 5-man system. I wish that this had duo for those who main support, but let's see, maybe in the future they will introduce duo queue for those support mains that will probably have a hard time in the lower ranks. So this is good for competitive players, but if you're a casual player, this might be a bit hard, and you could still stick to the rank queue, which makes your progression a lot faster and a lot easier to do. Wild Pass, the new skin would be the Stargazer Karma. Looks really good as well. So all of the skins are looking super good so far. And Star Guardian, one of the biggest events this year. Looking forward to it with its own website and a lot of new skins as well. Next would be the champion changes. Very excited to talk about this. And first on the list is Ari. She has gotten a minor rework on her passive. So from something that you spam and lifesteal, it is now takedown based, wherein you would only get the heal if you're able to take down enemy champions. This is good when it comes to team fights, but this makes her laning phase a bit weaker because you're not gonna be able to lifesteal off of minions anymore. So second skill has some QL changes, but her third skill has gotten a big nerf because there's no more 20% more damage from Ari's abilities. So what this does is that it reduces her burst, and most likely she would not be able to one-shot enemy champions anymore unless she is super fed. But in order to make up for this, Spirit Rush has been reworked as well. If she's able to get a takedown, then she would get an additional charge on her ultimate, so she would possibly be able to dash 4, 5, 6 times in a team fight to make up for the charm nerf. What they did is that they made Ari a takedown based champion with some burst rather than a full burst type of champion. So next would be Annie. She has gotten a bit of a nerf. Okay, her stats has gotten nerfed a bit, but her first skill got buffed, making it a bit faster and making it a bit bigger. Diana gotten a small nerf, but this doesn't change much. Dr. Mundo, a bit of a buff. So this is good. If Mundo's low health, he would get a lot more HP based on his missing health. I think you still have a hard time because of all of the damage that is present in the map, and everyone gets anti-healing. Galio has gotten a slight buff. I think they misspelled Durand, but it's okay. So plus, if I'm not mistaken, 140 health, and they buffed his second skill because his taunt is really hard to use right now if you instacast. So this would make him a bit more reliable. So then we go to Jax. He has gotten a AD buff and a nerf on the jungle because his passive no longer applies on jungle camps. So this makes his clear a lot slower. And another change that they did here is that they reworked his passive a bit. It's now max 5 stacks rather than 10 stacks. So per stack from 8.5 to 19%, which is, I think, a buff if I'm not mistaken, because if I multiply this by 2, it's only 17. So Jax has gotten a 2% attack speed buff on his passive. So this makes him a lot more effective in the Baron lane because of the change. His skills has also gotten some buffs, plus 10 damage on this first skill, plus 10 damage on his second skill, and reduced cooldown on his third skill. So what they want here is to make Jax a lot more viable in the Baron lane, which is very scary because Jax is kind of viable already. Once you reach level 5, you have a lot of burst and damage in your kit. Looking forward to see Jax in the Baron lane, but for jungle, he can still be used, but he's probably gonna be a lot slower. Similar to Camille, slow clear, but has good scaling. So next is Jhin. He has gotten another buff, increased his damage amp by 7%, and the root by 0.25. So this is another good buff on Jhin, making him a CC based champion and a execute type of ADC. So this is very scary. 2.25 is a long time. And with all the tenacity nerfs, this would be one of the longest crowd controls in the game. Karma getting another nerf, increasing the mana cost of his first skill, and reducing the shield of her third skill by 30. So still a very strong champion. Not sure when will Karma not be picked. I still think she's viable, especially in the support role. This is mostly a nerf on Karma's mid lane. So then we go to the Leona, receiving slight buffs on her range, wherein her second skill is a bit longer as well as her ultimate. Makes her initiates a bit more reliable, but we'll see. I think she's still the same champion, very strong in certain situations. Lux has gotten another buff actually. So on the second shield value, when her second skill goes back, it now gives a lot more shield. So from 165 to 220. So they doubled plus 65 and increasing the scaling as well. So 10%. So this would make Lux bot a lot stronger because she's still being used in competitively as a marksman rather than a support. Not sure what they're trying to do here. So she'll be a lot more annoying in team fights because of the shield that she would be able to give. Next is Nautilus. Oh, this is a much needed buff because his hook width is so small, wherein it's really hard to hit hooks on this champion. Unlike in the League PC where his hooks are a lot fatter, in here, his hooks are very narrow. So this is a good buff. And another buff on Nautilus Jungle, increasing the monster damage ratio. So it's very interesting that they're trying to make Nautilus viable in the jungle because his ganks are very scary since he has a lot of crowd control with his kit, first skill, third skill, and even ultimate. And it would be very hard to escape from Nautilus, especially when he point and clicks your ultimate onto you. So next, Nasus, receiving slight nerfs on his first skill, reducing the cooldown on earlier ranks, but on the max rank, it should still be the same. So not much change. Pyke has gotten a slight buff, which is very scary because if you buff Pyke, this makes him a lot more viable in other lanes such as mid lane. So we're increasing his attack damage per level. So if we do some quick maths, 1.7 times 14, 23.8, 2.65 times 14, 37. This is about a 14 AD buff onto Pyke. So this is a lot. That's a lot. Increasing the damage of his first skill by 10 and his third skill, another big buff on his third skill. So from 225 to 260. So this is a 35 damage buff. And they even increased the duration of his stun. So this makes Pyke a lot more scarier, especially if he has his third plus flash combo, which is hard to dodge. Probably be a lot more scarier, especially if you're a good Pyke player. Rune Change, base health has been increased, health regeneration increased as well, making her laning phase a bit better, but her third skill has gotten a huge nerf from 225 to 180. So this is a minus 180. 45 shield nerf onto Riven, making her trade a bit weaker, but she's probably still gonna be a very, very strong champion. Seth got a small buff, negligible, decreasing the cooldown of Facebreaker by 1 and increasing the bonus AD by 5%. Still the same champion. Shyvana, slight rework. I like this rework because this makes Shyvana not reliant on dragons all the time, wherein she would be able to scale in the late game even though she's not able to get any dragons. What this does is that every 100 stacks, she now evolves one of her abilities in order from first to last. So at 400 stacks, she would be able to evolve all of her abilities. So how do you get stacks? Large monster kills get 8, champion takedowns get 12, Rift, Herald, or Baron get 12, and Dragon kills get 35. If you want to get 100 stacks via large monster kills, so 100 divided by 8, you need to get 13 jungle camps to be able to evolve one of your skills. So this is good because Shyvana would still be able to scale in the later stages. So looking forward to playing more Shyvana. Singed, slight nerf, very strong champion, 40 HP nerf, and a 7-second reduction on his ultimate. Slight nerfs onto Singed. Then we go to Teemo, another champion that has been buffed, if I'm not mistaken, increasing the range of his first skill. Then the channel time has been reduced. This is big because this makes Teemo in V a lot faster since it's 0.5. This is negligible. I'd take this anytime even though they increase the cooldown or mana cost. This is the big buff onto Teemo. Then Noxious Trap has gotten a slight rework, reduced the explosion radius, and this is now a on-hit skill similar to the League PC version rather than a DPS skill wherein it will create a puddle once stepped on. Damages all of the champions that step on it, and even if they go out of the radius, they would still get damaged. So next would be Twisted Fate. Cardmaster has been succeeding more in AD oriented. I have not seen ADTF in so long. So very interesting. Probably in lower ranks wherein a lot of people play ADTF. What they did here is they reduced his AD, increased the AP, and reduced the attack speed. So they don't... Riot doesn't want ADTF to be viable for some reason. Varus has gotten another nerf, increasing the cooldown of the piercing arrow as well as they increased the damage of his second skill. What this means is that they're trying to make on-hit Varus or attack speed Varus a bit more viable rather than all of the Varus going poke build. Veigar finally has gotten some nerfs. He has been buffed a lot, finally getting a nerf from 2180 to 2040, which is a 140 HP nerf, decreasing his armor per level as well. Wukong getting a big buff even though it's just one line. This allows Wukong to gank from awkward angles wherein he could go to places that are not usually warded. Xin Zhao got a small nerf on his first skill, negligible, still the same champion. Then here, we have the champion ultimate cooldown adjustments. So they're changing almost every champion's cooldown. Okay, let's see the changes. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Let's talk about this briefly. Ari has been buffed by 5 seconds. Akali 5 seconds. Akshan is buffed in the early levels. Alistar 5 seconds as well. Amumu 5 seconds. So I think the big ticket ultimates are getting lower cooldowns. Ashe has been also reduced. So very interesting. Ashe buff. Asol, Blitzcrank, Brand, still the same but earlier levels it's increased. So what they're doing here is they're decreasing the cooldowns of the ultimate of those who have longer cooldowns. So Braum, Caitlyn, Camille. Ooh, this is a big buff. 20 seconds on level 1. Darius, Diana, Dr. Mundo. So all of the level 1 ultimates, they're decreasing. Evelyn, this is a big buff. 15 seconds on her early ultis. Ezreal, 10 seconds. Fiora, early buff. Fizz, 5 seconds. Galio, another big buff. 20 seconds on his ultimate on earlier ranks and 10 seconds on max rank. Garen, earlier rank buff. Gragas, Graves. Oh, this is another big buff. From 90 to 75 on level 1. Irelia, early buff. Janna, 20 seconds on level 1. Jarvan, Jax, Jhin, Jinx, early. Kaisa, 20 seconds on level 1. Karma, Katarina, Kayle, another big buff. 25 seconds on level 1. And 15 seconds. 15 seconds on level 3. Kennen, 20 seconds. Kha'Zix, Lee Sin. Wow, they actually decreased Lee Sin's cooldown. Okay. Leona, 5 seconds. Lucian, Lulu, Lux, Malphite, 10 seconds on first. Master Yi, early. Misfortune, early. Morgana, 15 seconds buff on early ranks. Nami, also 15. Nasus, Nautilus, Nunu, 15 seconds. Olaf's ulti is already on a short cooldown. They made it a lot shorter. Okay, on earlier ranks. Oriana, Pantheon, 20 seconds on Pantheon. Pyke, 20 seconds on Pyke. Rakan, Ramos, 15 seconds. Yes, 15 seconds. Renekton, 15 seconds. Okay. Rengar, 10 seconds. Riven, 15 seconds. Very interesting. Senna, I think this is the biggest. 20 seconds. 20 seconds on Senna. Seraphine, 20 seconds. 15 seconds on earlier ranks. Set, 10 seconds. Shen, 20 seconds on earlier ranks. Sinch, Sion. Oh, Sion. Interesting. Not even out yet. 10 seconds on Sinch. Sona, 20 seconds. Soraka, 15. So what I'm looking here is at the earlier ranks because it's more impactful. The late ranks are not that important as compared to the level 1s. Tristana, Tryndamere, 10 seconds. Thresh, actually, quite a big buff. Varus, Vayne. So what I'm checking here is the interesting ones. Wukong, big buff. Saya, Xin Xiao, big buff as well, Xin Xiao. Yasuo, Yumi, 15 seconds. Zed, 5 seconds. And Ziggs, 10 seconds. I think almost all, if not all of the champions has gotten their cooldowns buffed. So there's no nerf at all, which is very interesting. Then what we have is the ultimate duration adjustments. So what we have here is, those who have durations on their ultimates. So these are the nerfs. Riven, Nasus Renekton, all from 15 to 12. Rengar's ultimate as well. At later ranks from 20 to 16, this is non-factor. This would possibly be the bigger nerfs because you have to use your ultimate more efficiently now rather than just clicking it when a fight starts. Earth changes, not interested. Now we go to the item changes. There are new enchants on the Rift. First would be the Magnetron enchant. So this is similar to Brom's second skill where you attach to a champion, but instead of giving bonus armor MR, it would taunt enemy champions that are beside the attached champion that you go to. Taunt affects enemy champions. This effect can only taunt one enemy. So if there are multiple opponents, it would only taunt one, if I'm not mistaken. Very interesting on which champion it would prioritize. And it will get nerfed if a lot of people get the Magnetron enchant. I think this would be OP if 2 or 3 players could get that disenchant for multiple CC. So this is a good way to balance the item. Then we go for the Repulsor enchant. This has a small knockback. Yasuo is not allowed to use his ultimate. This would be OP. Very cheap, 500. I don't think this enchant would be used as much. This is best for cancelling skills such as Lee Sin's second proc of the first skill and Leona's third skill or even Alistar's headbutt. This could cancel those abilities and you need to have fast reaction time to use this enchantment properly. But the Magnetron, I think this is really good for tank junglers or even some enchanters if they want to get close to their carries and try to protect them. Veil enchant, this is Banshee's Veil wherein you could use it on your teammate. Most probably be used on clutch situations, but outside of that, I don't think people would use this as much. Unless there are big ultimates that need to be dodged. And you need to have a good reaction time as well to use this effectively. Boots of Swiftness has been name changed to Boots of Furor. So what they did here is that they nerfed the initial movement speed as well as removing the reduction on movement speed slows. They made this a purely MS type of boots where you would get 30 move speed if you attack a target. So not sure on what champions this would be most efficient on. Probably ADCs. But we'll see. If the move speed is really fast and allows you to kite a lot better, people would probably think of getting this item. So this is a 50-50 item for me. Fumble Winter, shield range modifier has been nerfed. Not that much. Gargoyle. So this is another big nerf for me. So instead of getting bonus HP, you now get bonus shield. And this is a nerf because it now makes the Sterak's plus Stoneplate or Gargoyle combo dead. Because Sterak's plus Stoneplate was one of the best tank combinations wherein you would get a lot of shield of your Sterak's because of the bonus HP that the Gargoyle provides. This also nerfs champions that have HP scaling such as Set, Nunu. Those who have scaling on their HP, you wouldn't be able to use the enchant plus skill anymore. Before, what people would do is with Nunu ultimate, you always want to use the enchant plus Nunu ult to get a bigger shield, or even Shen's ultimate, enchant plus shield for a bigger shield. But with this new functionality, it wouldn't be viable anymore, and people will still probably use this in certain situations, but junglers would probably go for the Magnetron enchant or even going just for Redemption or Solari. So let's see. Protabelt has been nerfed from 500 to 800. Interesting. Then we go for Hullbreaker. Huge nerf onto ranged champions because what they do is, especially those who play Baron, ranged champions that go Hullbreaker first, such as Graves, Lucian, Akshan, etc. Really annoying. They reduced the armor from 10 to 50 to 5 to 25. So they reduced it by 50% as well as the allied minions as well. So what this does is that this makes people that play ranged laners not buy Hellbreaker because it wouldn't be that effective anymore. Biggest offenders, Corki, Lucian, Akshan, Graves. Quicksilver Enchant has gotten a minor rework, really good right now because it now grants immunity to crowd control effects for 0.5 seconds. This is the biggest counter to Nautilus ulti, Malphite ulti, those who rely on their ultimates to engage. So you automatically would want to get Quicksilver instead of Stasis. It also grants 30% tenacity and slow resistance, so even though you mistime your QSS a bit and there are other additional crowd controls that come, it wouldn't last that long anymore. And can still be used under effect of non-knockup, such as if you get arrowed by Ashe or binded by Morgana, you could still use this enchant. This would probably be the number one enchant that would be used by ADCs, or even bruisers could use this as well. Shadows enchant, RIP, has been removed. Stasis has been nerfed, so from 800 to 1k, it's now the most expensive enchantment. Still good on the situations, but there are now a lot of other viable enchantments that could possibly be used. Rune Changes, Conquer has gotten a nerf, increased stacks from 5 to 6. Adaptive damage has been increased though, from 30 to 36. 6 damage and 9 AP buff. But they have now changed the full stack passive, which before it would be 10% more damage. Now it's a physical vamp or magic vamp. So this makes bruiser champions a bit more sticky and last longer, but it would reduce their overall damage. So this is more in line with the PC version, which also gives lifesteal when full stacks. Those who play Conqueror will probably still use Conqueror. So this is not the end of the world. This opens up maybe some champions to use Electrocute instead. Number 1 would be Kha'Zix. He wouldn't benefit from this at all. So let's see. So this is a nerf for burst champions such as Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, but a buff for those fighter champions that need to stick in team fights like Irelia, Riven, etc. etc. Fleet Footwork gotten a nerf for jungle. They removed the additional healing, made it similar to everyone. This incentivizes people to get Fleet Footwork on jungle. Grasp of the Undying getting a big buff actually. So now it not only scales on maximum health, it also scales on damage and ability power. Ranged has been nerfed. I think only Senna uses Undying. But aside from that, this is a buff for Baron laners. Makes a lot of Baron laners take Undying instead because it now scales and it's good for trades. Kraken Slayer is now an on-hit effect. So this is good for Ezreal or Fiora's Lunch as stated. Has also gotten a slight buff on the later stages of the game. So let's see if Ezreal's would use this, or I think Fiora could use this rune because it makes her laning phase a lot better. Domination Brutal. Ooh, big nerf. Removed the flat AD that it gives. It only works if you're damaging champions. So this is a jungle nerf. RIP Brutal in the jungle. But to compensate for it, I think they need some smite and jungle camp adjustments. So increasing the burn damage, decreasing the initial health of the camps because of the Brutal nerf, making clears a lot faster. I think this is a buff for those who can clear without Brutal, like Evelynn, Morgana, Vi can even clear Lee Sin. Overall, even though they nerfed Brutal, this makes jungle a lot easier. And it allows junglers to get another rune aside from Brutal. They can go for Vampirism or Weakness or even Triumph as well. Turret plate system is now changed as well. So from 0 to 4, it's now 0 to 3, wherein mid and Baron lane turrets would only get 50 armor and magic resist from 90 armor and magic resist. Then from 0 to 4 minutes, from Dragon lane, it's now removed. So Dragon lane towers have no more tower protection. It's very easy to get a plate on the Dragon lane, and it makes Dragon lane a lot more important. This would punish roaming supports. Turret plating system is now changed. Only outer turrets have plating similar to the League PC version, and it's not anymore permanent. Only lasts for 6 minutes and 30 seconds. 5 plating equally distributed. What they did here is only the outer towers now have platings, and they increase the number of platings that the outer tower has. Outer tower 150 to 150. So when we do some quick maths, outer towers are very important. So 150 times 5, since it's now 5 platings, you get 750 gold if you get all of the plates. And if you are able to take down the tower, you get an additional 200 gold, plus 200. So outer towers can now give a total of 950 gold if left unchecked. So this is good for those who are able to have strong laning phase. Can also be good for Baron laners who could be able to solo kill their opponents, and Hullbreaker champions, unfortunately. But this is only for the early game. So after 6 minutes 30 seconds, there's no more plating, and all of this would disappear. Plating defense. Outer towers gain bonus armor and magic resist based on health status when the health is no more than 180, 60, 40, 20. The turret will gain 40, 80, 162, 40. Oh, I see. So, in order to make up for this nerf on the towers, they placed additional armor magic resist if you're able to get a plate. So, if you take 1 plate, then the turret will get 40 armor. If you take 2 plates, turret will get 80, 160 to 40. So it will be very hard to actually get all 5 plates. Even though you're 3 manning, 5 manning the tower, it's still available. Wherein if there's a lot of champions hitting the tower, not only will it get more armor because of the plate, it will also get more armor because there's a lot of champions present. So very hard to take down all of the 5 plating. We'll see when the patch hits on what is the most efficient way to be able to get plates. So this makes the first herald very important as well. Second herald, I think, is useless. You would rather get the dragon, which scales with your stats. And this makes people decide whether to go for the dragon for the scaling or the herald for the gold, since platings would still be available at the 5-minute mark. Trinket and ward. So this is a nerf for red trinket, which is the control ward trinket. You can't do the level 1 trick anymore, where you buy control ward, put it one side of the map, recall, switch to your yellow, because the moment that you place your yellow trinket, the control ward will disappear as well. So you have to stick to 1 trinket, which is a nerf for those who like to abuse the system. But all in all, I think this is okay. Enchantment switch. So this is a good, especially when we go to the clutch situations, the elders, the barons. It would allow people to switch more easily. Instead of selling your boots, buying TP, now you could just buy TP straight and it would automatically switch to TP. So if you have stasis and then there's an elder fight, you're out of position, you want to switch to TP, all you have to do is just click the TP enchantment. Instead of selling the boots, looking for the boots upgrade, then looking for the enchantment, and then buying it, you could now swap in one step. New skins, Scar Guardian event, very, very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A Lee Sin, probably you're gonna use this because it's the only jungle skin out of all of the Star Guardians. And that is it for the patch. So the thing that I like the most would be number 1, Legendary Q. Number 2, the new enchantments, very interesting to use. I think the new champions are not yet enabled in this patch, like Kassadin, Samira, and Sion. Probably will be available in 3.3a. The thing that they want to test the most would be the Elemental Rift before they implement the new champions. So, very big patch. Very excited to play this. And that is it for our patch rundown. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Ciao, ciao. Bye. I'm finally facing it all. Fearless.